Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to round one back nine coverage of our feature card here at the 2024 Dynamic Discs Open, playing on the newly named Champions Landing at the newly named Emporia Community Club that Jeremy Rusko and Dynamic Discs have recently purchased.
Yeah, I love that name, Champions Landing. And talking to Jeremy, he said, you know what? We've crowned a lot of world champions here and a lot of Dynamic Disc Open champion, Glass Balloon Open. He's like, this is where champions land.
I love it.
That's a great name.
It sounds nice. It's a nice sounding name. They got a cool logo too. They got like this disc golf basket that makes a cup, a championship cup. It's a cool logo. But yeah, they've got some very big plans here for this property in the future with all sorts of 3D modeling and architecture. They're planning on a multi-level garage, a hotel on site, music venue, super sweet pool. Like they're talking about
pickle courts.
Well, they already got
no
them. Indoor pickle courts. I did not know about that.
Yep.
That makes no difference to me whatsoever, but the whole facility, it just looks incredible. And Jeremy Rusko is the type of person to bring a big dream like that to life. So a lot of cool things to look forward to here in Emporia, Kansas, as far as disc golf goes. We are heading to the back nine now.
Albert's on a heater. If you didn't catch those scores, he's 6 under through 9 holes and turns this one over. If it flexes, oh, whoa.
Love it.
It's as good as they make them.
Yeah, the only thing that can make it better is if it wasn't stymied between those 4 trees, but I think he's fine. Like if you were to do something like this, perhaps, through the gap, up the hill, those are both incredible drives.
Yeah, that's where the basket has been located in the past. But from this tee pad, it is. Oh.
Really close to a nice shot from Andrew, but he's going to be stymied behind a tree. And a bit of a slow start for Parker on the front nine. Maybe a fortunate kick into the fairway. Still not really in a good birdie position.
That is inside.
Oh, and that's going to come up short and out of bounds.
Wow. Yeah.
Big mistake there for Parker, so he's going to be going backwards.
I think he caught the tops of the tree. Whoa, okay. What are you trying to do, Prez?
This is how you avoid throwing a forehand. you throw a sweep over your plant leg, which is so tricky to do, but he does it a lot. It's
fade away.
A little fade inward away. Just some weird shot, but he's really done a good job with that. We saw it a few times last week in Peoria.
Putter approach is a dream scenario on this hole. And this doesn't look great.
Well, I got a question for you.
Hit me.
Have you ever not booked your own flights? Has anyone ever booked your flights for you?
Yeah, I think so.
I've had people book my flights for me, and it's nice of them to do that, as Albert throws his nice little forehand approach. One time, I tried to book, or someone tried to book a flight to Emporia, and found out when they were at the airport, they accidentally booked it for Peoria. 2 different disc golf locations, but also 2 completely different spots.
Did you get on the plane?
Did not. Found out in time when we got the switcheroo.
That'd be funny if you're like there. You're like,
I smell disc golf in the air.
Where am I?
But it's not the right time.
Where am I?
Parker's going to be taking a big double bogey.
You sneaky bugger. Basket wasn't paying attention.
Ricky just likes to do that thing where he throws it in there and then the disc and the basket take a minute to think about what they're going to do.
He was hesitant. He looked at it like, oh, I might have done a boo-boo.
I got away with it maybe, yeah. Andrew walks away with par, double bogey for Presnell, and birdies for both Albert and Ricky.
Wow, this card is actually scorching it. Aside from Parker, 557. It's
those are
really
all on the
good.
leaderboard. I mean, it's getting it done.
This is one of the tougher par 3s on the course just because of the length. 395 low ceiling. The wind's going to help them today, though, being a left to right wind. You can actually play with the hyzer a little bit and have the left to right kind of hold you straight. It is easier to get this hole if you put it on any sort of anhyzer. But there is out of bounds on the right. Sneaky OB over there.
Albert
And that's on Anheuser, so...
Yeah, but the height is not good and needs to... It has a safe drop. Fortunately, does not kick out of bounds. How about that one, Paul?
Oh, just don't go too far.
How about that one, Paul?
He won't. There's the little drifty Annie that I was talking about. That's Presnell's natural flight. I think that'll help him on this hole. He just doesn't get it over enough. This is going to be circle's edge left side. Ooh, bad skip too, to boot. So mid circle 2. And this one might be that circle's edge.
Yeah, it's got that hyzer skip momentum.
A big skip again.
Yep.
It could have been the product of the wind kind of dying and them reading it and it not pushing them to the right side.
Albert needs to sit down.
Ooh.
Okay. It's just a little bit more on your plate than you'd like. Brushing the flag as it goes over the top of the basket. And Andrew kind of flutter wobbles his nose up putt from 50 feet, just short and left.
Yeah, well, his kind of dropped and... Oh, yeah.
And there's...
You just can't leak those that far.
Got to put that one closer. You just don't need to put that much pressure and stress on yourself.
Yep.
It's just a pretty easy cleanup for Albert, and he just didn't necessarily take care of business.
What I was going to say is Parker's never dropped, and then Presnell, I think, maybe got a read from that, and then his just fell out of the sky. Happens.
You got to be cognizant, though. If you're reading someone else's lie from a similar range, you also have to match their nose angle because,
right.
You know, if Andrew was trying to do that, his putt had considerable more nose up angle to it. So, whereas Parker's is more of the traditional flat putt that he does from that range.
That hyzer
That was just
flip.
a beautiful release there for Ricky, rewarded with a nice, easy, short birdie putt. And Austin Turner and Calvin Heimberg are leading the way through 11 holes at 7 under par. The pace is set. Like I said, this is not necessarily the windiest day. By all means, we've seen, by many accounts, the windiest round that any of these players have ever played was at this course a couple of years ago. This is just a mildly windy day, and when it's mildly windy, you got to think this course becomes a sprint. You got to get a lot of birdies.
Is this going to hook up? It doesn't look like it.
It's going to be obstructed.
Yeah, that's a tough putt. You see a lot of people land kind of right there. Low ceiling, high riser. Another shape that really Presnell loves.
Yeah, I mean,
low ceiling, little
this.
air bounce. Hit that.
Yeah,
oh,
it does.
Bummer.
Yep, it just 4 or 5 inches more to the left, and that hits it square and is parked. Instead, the glancing blow leaves about 40 feet left for the birdie.
Man, that's a lot of power, Jerm, isn't it?
And he also gets a predictable finish by doing that. It's a beautiful shot. Parker really needs some birdies right now.
It's funny because his sidearm form's different than anything I've really seen.
Uh-huh.
It reminds...
Oh, come on.
I think he probably
That's
would have been the same distance on the other side,
probably.
Maybe. Yeah.
Probably. Are you talking about... Oh, look at that. Beauty.
That. I'm talking...
Parker's, or are you talking about...
Parker's.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, like it looks like if you were to give somebody a disc and that it was like their first shot, you know, and they just wing it.
I have 100% follow you.
Yeah.
Like, I know what you're saying, and it sounds almost condescending. Like,
yeah, but
it's
I'm not.
But it's not. It's like he's harnessed that.
Yeah.
Oh, Ricky's so close. It hits the top of the cage and falls straight down, but that was only an inch or two away from being in.
Well, undoubtedly one
nice.
of the best forehands in the game.
Well, at least most powerful. I mean, and if you consider power a skill, I mean, which obviously it is, then yeah, he's up there with... His length is nearly unmatched for any of the power hyzer throwers.
Relatively small build too.
Oh, and pound for pound, he's the farthest throwing forehand player we've ever seen, maybe.
Right.
I mean, he really just, yeah, here it is. Whee! It's just, it's smooth, it's efficient, but he has that like, I'm just slinging it type of, it has that style, that essence to it. A certain je ne sais quoi.
Ricky. What? What just happened? Wysocki blows up the basket on the 16th. I don't know what that is, but it definitely bombs.
That commercial should have been filmed on hole 4. Anyways, hole 13, par 3, 456 feet. Got to get right. Yeah, if you want to be in bounds, but it's all hazard this year. So the incentive to try to attack is certainly greater than it's been in the past. The looming double or triple bogey disaster was always in the mind when that whole area was out of bounds and you had to throw from your last crossed.
I think I would like to see this one push back, and hear me out. The only reason I think I'd like to see this is just a great shot from Prezi. This could get to circle's edge-ish, a little outside. I think it's the same shot as 11. I think they're essentially the same shot.
Yeah, I can see that. And you know what? Like, oh no, Parker, early release, that's going to find the hazard. Even though this course does take big tee shots, Andrew Presnell, who's not, self-admittedly not a long thrower, is right there in the mix because there aren't that many shots that require actual elite level distance to a reach.
And I'm fine with elite level distance on this one.
Yeah, having like one or two.
Because it's a shot shape as well. And a really good throw gets you safe. You get your par, but you should be rewarded
How much more? Like 30 feet more?
Yeah, 34. 30. Didn't mean to say
34
feet. No, 30 feet.
Well, it does make it at a nice 490 round number, but that, other than that, that's just a really random response.
You know what I mean, though?
Yeah, no, I hear you. I mean, it does seem crazy to think about making this one longer, but I do see where you're coming from.
I'm not a big fan of rewarding just a wide open 550.
Sure, if you got to shape it.
Yeah, but like
give them the real reward.
If you can throw it 500 feet up a hill with this tight of a line, you deserve it 100%.
That was a really nice scramble from the hazard area for Parker, and he needs every stroke that he can get. Ricky from just inside 50, or maybe just outside 50. So good.
Isn't he?
Really good at disc golf.
When he gets in the groove and he takes a bogey early, it seems like it's like, we've said this 1,000 times on this in this booth, that it is the wrong thing for the field.
Everyone. You can't take a bogey earlier than hole 1, and that's exactly what he did here in this round. So we've kind of known for a while that the field was in trouble. Andrew, a decent effort. This is certified big bonus birdie for Prez, but he'll have to take the par, which is just fine.
Like you said, a good scramble there for Park, but it's getting out of hand a bit. He's at 2 over. He needs to get that to
look at the flag.
Green figures.
If that flag's not out, if you can't read the logo, that means people are out there scoring.
Yeah.
If you can't read the logo, people are throwing low.
I still gotta tell you.
I know. I believe you that it's gusty.
It was a little windy out there.
But if there's pockets of calm, people are taking advantage of it.
Yeah.
And Austin Turner is currently taking advantage of it better than anyone through 13, as he is now at 8 under par, leading the way right now as we are flying over hole 14, a reachable and 2 par 5. We saw it last year with Parker. We alluded to it at the beginning of the show, going forehand, albeit he made a big putt. Still incredible to reach this in 2. More likely than not, we're going to see players just go for the forehand or backhand play, try to get their second shot to the bottom of the hill and set themselves up for a sub 250 approach. And
Yahtzee.
Yep, that's just fine. Much tougher backhand line.
Yeah, and this is why. Gets kind of slammed in that wind.
And if you give it the height that you'd like to get the distance, you risk potentially fading out left and going out of bounds. So that's a really short tee shot there.
But in his defense,
oh, the deflection back into the fairway.
Playing a short shot right there, like birdie's still so grabbable. You have a downhill shot now with really nothing in your way, and if you can shape something decent, you'll only have 300 feet in at most. Ooh.
Yeah, Parker just gets it out there, like you said before, zip.
No, Tamm.
Actually, Albert up next. It's good to have this in the toolbox if you are short off the tee. Big boom and flick out to the right side. Not ideally where you'd like to be after two.
Tricky low ceiling spots.
But
some
workable.
Flex plays, yep. Oh no. Is this too low again?
Yeah.
Yes.
And now I think Andrew may have considered going roller had he not had the awful experience that he shared with us during the practice round where it went 300 feet, came backwards 200 feet, and then went into the neighborhood out of bounds.
Ooh, that's not a good lift. Okay, though.
And look at that. The soft grass collects the OB path that Parker's approach was on.
That's about going to be the easiest birdie Ricky ever got.
Yeah, that's just right to the bottom of the hill, right where you want to be.
Now, this is a trickier approach than Andrew wanted. There's a right to left crosswind, and all of his discs have been just diving.
I'm telling you, Paul, that was on an absolutely gorgeous line before it just got that air bounce into the unfortunate lowest branch. Other than that, I think Prezi nailed it. That looked to be heading towards the promised land. Look at this spot that Albert found.
It's fine, yeah. He was so far that I was saying he might have a flex play, but that's from farther back. He was so far up there that it was just straight hyzer.
And it's going to be a tap-in birdie for Albert. His great round continues here on 14.
Now Ricky and him just kind of matching shot for shot.
That's what you expect from these guys from this range. A little false front makes this approach a little tricky, hard to gauge the proper distance, and you see Parker here coming up short. We've seen him make that very same putt before, but you don't want to have to make it more than you need to. Always surprised to see people throw from that range, where it's a jump putt range, but they throw it anyways. And that is an unfortunate missed opportunity for the birdie for Parker.
Good putt, though.
He just certainly doesn't look like someone who's 2 over par right now, 9 back of a couple players. Well, now 10 back of a couple players on his card. It's good to see the composure. Obviously, it's been a tough round for him.
Going through a couple injuries as well with the elbow. And he's also a bag switch. And if it's his first major bag switch of his career, it's... yeah, that's tough, especially when you're not able to practice as much as you'd like with the new bag switch because of the injury.
No, a lot of us have been there before and can say I didn't think the first time I ever switched sponsors that it would be that big of a deal. It means something different for different people.
Yes.
And it definitely wasn't easy for me to make that transition, so I can speak to that one from personal experience. Austin Turner continuing his ways. He is now at 9 under. Will he be the first player to double digits? We'll see. Flying over 15, the easiest hole on the course, believe it or not, at 439 feet. Par 3, big hyzer over the right side. That's pretty much it. Just avoid the trees, avoid going out of bounds, because any out of bounds proceeds to a drop zone that's no easy up and down for the bogey.
Really want to get it wide here, and he's done that, and it's easy to go deep today. That's not deep, and that's perfectly wide.
He's settling in. And he's been settling in for a while, but he feels very comfortable, or it looks like he feels really comfortable right now. And Albert, extremely wide. And races back inbounds deep.
See, easy to go deep.
It is, apparently. And fortunately, it gets underneath those limbs, because if it hits any part of that tree and the upper part of the limbs, I think he falls out of bounds.
Even this one going a bit deep.
And that's the tree. But fortunately, the disc just puts the brakes on instantly once it gets to the ground. Stays in bounds. Lengthy birdie putt coming. And that's the one that you see so many good-looking shots collide with. Parker just unable to get around the last thing or make the putt from range. It just hasn't quite fallen in his favor yet.
Decent bit. And he's leaving himself a lot of little 20-foot comebackers too. That can be mentally draining.
To get to 7. And that flew like... got 100% flight and still came up just a bit short. Oh! Albert from deep.
How good was that?
If you had freeze framed the first 3 seconds of that drive and then said this guy ends up with a birdie on this hole, I don't think I would have believed you. But that's exactly what's happened here with Albert making the putt from range. When Albert's making this putt, I mean, he gives himself so many opportunities with the forehand-backhand combo. He is definitely a player to look out for.
Right about that. And him and Ricky keep matching. Ricky sitting there in the bullseye. That'll get him to 9 under par.
What I was saying about Andrew's attempt, though, if that had gone in, it would have used 100% of his energy just to get to the chains. There's no chance it could spit out. It would have just like sat right in the cage.
Yeah, look at how far right this goes. Into the clouds.
Yeah. And there are 4 players now who are 11 under through 15 holes. We got half of them right here on Jump. Oh, what did I say?
11.
Through, I don't know why I said that. It's been a long day, Paul.
It's okay.
We are heading to the island hole, one of the holes of the world for sure. No, this is obviously an iconic hole, probably on everyone's dream course to have a shot like this.
Gotta be, gotta be.
Calvin going mid, or maybe even putter, I don't quite know. But sticks the landing. Watching people miss this island all day long. And just like that, he is now at 9 under. And we've got Chris Clemens on the tee. Going back and forth with a couple different options. Going with the forehand.
Eat it.
Bingo.
He shakes his head.
You gotta love it. Got to love it.
Featured cards doing work out here.
Yeah, let's take another look at this beautiful ace here. In front of the ruckus crowd, they call themselves the Mingos, short for flamingos. They all wear pink. It's a pretty awesome scene. I love the idea of having the 8 holes, the Hive over there in Des Moines, and now we've got the Mingos here. You're going to see them come into play There they are with the pink Kangol hat and the fedoras.
Love it. They're having a great time over there.
You can't beat it, man. It's the best. Disc golf fanfare, man. It's really what's keeping the sport alive in the community. Now on to our feature group.
You really want to just miss those branches over there on the right with a little hyzer, and you should be good.
This needs to get down and hit the wall, and it's done so. So Ricky has guaranteed himself an easy 3 if he wants it, or an easy 4. It's
and a really difficult birdie.
Really tough too. And this has been the miss all day long, Paul. So many players just not quite committing to the right angle out of the hand, and that dynamic disc sign has had plenty of company today.
It's just going to lift. It gets the lift.
It's just...
Press.
Very rarely will you see a shot on this hole better than that. It's just the right amount of nose up, the right amount of pace, the right width, everything so dialed in.
That's got to be too high.
Yeah, and that's just stalled out. Oh my gosh, it actually had a much better chance of landing than I didn't even think he got it there.
I mean, that's his play. Remember last season? He was throwing that big ante.
Just a stall play to land flat. And here's a good opportunity for us to highlight the new drop zone here on 16. It's brutal. I mean, evil. I can't believe Parker has run it. I mean, I guess in some ways you kind of have to, being 2 over.
Yeah.
But, and what's Ricky doing? Okay. Ricky getting a little bit cheeky there, running the scariest birdie putt in the world. And that's how you guarantee yourself the birdie. You put it close off the tee. And you go to that back wall, you just say to yourself, let's make a decision right here off the tee. Okay, self, we're going to lay this one up. Okay, got it. Let's not get crazy when we get up there, get a sudden surge of confidence. The par is fine. And Ricky has somehow got away from that negotiation with himself and still walked away without a bogey.
I think it's green light go when you're on the backside right there. If it's calm.
Yeah, for some people, you're not wrong. In certain situations, last round, that putt's going to be, I have to run it. But early on, you just hate to lose a putter or throw it out there like Parker just did with his. Yeah. You just don't want to do something like that, of course.
Yeah. Heading into hole 17, par 4, 745. This is a classic here at the tournament. Out of bounds left the whole way. You have out of bounds right and a mandatory, so you can't just throw wide hyzers. Green's out of bounds with out of bounds that wraps all the way around that green. And then from there, you come into the actual disc golf green here, 30-foot radius, with out of bounds deep. A lot of out of bounds. Basically, you're throwing the straightest shot you can that drifts a little bit right. If you can do that.
Austin Turner pushing this left side OB off the tee, and he has a ceiling to go for the big spike hyzer, and look how close this thing gets.
Ooh. Yeah, but if you can throw a great tee shot, then you're left with all kinds of different options.
And he is left with just this to get back to 9 under after missing the island. Little bounce back birdie, you betcha. Austin Turner off to a great start.
What's making this hole tough as well is the right to left crosswind.
Jeez Louise.
If we could rewind that and watch that shot again, he's throwing hyzer at the ground.
At the ground.
With the crosswind, it's lifting and then
incredible
turning.
read. Honestly, just beautiful. Right? It's just so good. And it leaves that one shorter than he'd like after that beautiful tee shot. But when the putt's up for Calvin.
And honestly,
he's the best player in the world.
He's been putting great inside the circle.
Much better than prior years, for sure.
Oh, Prez, talk to us, man. How do you do it? How do you do it? Tell us.
Play a lot of Rocket League and other Xbox games.
Nice.
I'm from Missouri. My name's Andrew. Thanks, Andrew, for joining the booth for that one quick moment. Ricky Wysocki even closer by pushing that right side OB.
Albert, this is a little high, and I worry if it's not far enough.
Oh,
It is. It's far enough, but he still got pretty close to that out of bounds on the left-hand side.
that's an Estonian dish cooked way down there.
I'm going to say no.
Put the brakes on. Yes, it does.
It's going to be in great position. He was flirting with it, though. I didn't think that one had a chance to come back. And it did. Presnell shaping a little shot here, isn't he?
Yeah, it needs to sit down. Look at that. Look at that skip,
No.
skip.
No.
It's going to curl and then end up out of bounds. But that second skip is what really surprised me. The first one, I kind of expected, but the second one, it continued going.
Yeah, that wasn't cool.
No, definitely not cool.
Very well played from Parker.
Yep. And a similar ground play there. You saw that as it got to the edge, it wanted to just scoot a little bit more.
Oh, and just dodging those lemons,
Yeah.
but leaves himself a little work. Albert gonna go low.
Ooh. Okay. When a drive goes that far off the tee, you'd like to be inside the circle. There's just, you get a lot more options up there. He can go big forehand spike hyzer. He likes to go with the more obstructed backhand hyzer route, and he's left with this now for the birdie. And a par just, it feels good on this hole in a lot of situations, but it doesn't feel so good with a tee shot like that.
Oh, stay in there.
He's feeling it, man.
Yeah.
And he is, I believe, officially the first person to get to double digits. A good hit. And that keeps him clean for the day.
Wow. Yeah, slow back 9, but I mean, he's just been playing smart. That's all you need to do. If you get 7, 8 birdies, no bogeys, you're right in there.
It's a hot, honestly, a hot start with a very short miss putt on hole 4. But we talked about it a little bit on the front 9. The early stretch, it gives the player a lot of opportunities to get under par, and you would love to take advantage of those opportunities because you can definitely find little stall out periods here on the back 9. A lot of those 400 plus par 3s, the island hole obviously can be a 2-stroke setback in the wrong direction. We are flying over the newly designed hole 18. It's the same first and second part of the hole, but they have brought the basket from the left side on this part of land over the water to the other side. Second shots are usually landing somewhere in here, and then there's just a pitch across the water. Setting up a good seating area for fans to watch these shots come in. Got to get it in bounds off the tee, though. That's the number one. Got to give yourself a chance.
A little heavy on the hyzer. Good little stall out, though. That's just fine. What's this one coming in at?
I was a bit surprised. I thought it would be a lot easier. But because there's a huge spread of players taking huge numbers on the hole and a lot of birdies, it's, I believe, the third most birdied hole. Yeah, it's the third most birdied hole on the course.
Oh, Prez has got this turned over way too far, and there's no chance for this. He needs this one to float.
He needs a scuba diver friend is what he needs.
Yeah, it didn't float, did it?
This looks just fine for Albert. kind of pushing that right side.
He's going to be in a spot where, if he would like,
there's an option for the eagle play. Yeah, this is certainly a hole that I think the most drama is going to come from this last round. If somebody is in the hunt and potentially needs a stroke, there is a play for the eagle. And there's spots where you can be only 400 feet away from the green going for the eagle. Parker, after the birdie on 17, is going to have that short approach to go birdie-birdie to finish.
You don't need a lot of distance here. Just get around the corner and you have a manageable upshot to this green. Inside 300 feet to at max, once you get past that tree, is about 320.
Which should be nearly 100% up and down rate for a player who's playing as well as Ricky is right now. Albert doesn't need to get that much distance on his second shot, but goes for it anyways, and he'll have a short approach.
Probably tough for him to kind of lay it back. Just needs to hurry.
And he's asking for it to sit down. And of course it does, and it'll be 27 feet left to get to 11 for Ricky.
Prez just trying to save the par after the mishap on the tee, and this needs to get heavy.
Okay, edge of circle. Not the par look you want on the last hole when you've kept it clean all round, but that's what he's got left.
I think a lot of people haven't figured this hole out yet.
I'm definitely surprised by that. But I think you're right. I mean,
I haven't seen a lot of people really just get close. That's really close, but I see a lot of other people like in between driver and mid-range, and it's like it's a good distance that keeps you honest.
Albert would love this to get to 9 under, and he'll have that short putt to do it. And that could guarantee himself a spot on our lead card if he makes that putt. Andrew to stay at 7 just didn't get it up enough. And it will be a final hole bogey for our major champion. Still a not too shabby round. And Ricky does get to 11 under with 2 spit outs.
Yeah,
it's just incredible. And one of the weirdest shanks we've really ever seen him throw back on his approach on
super
5.
Bizarre. Albert with a great round.
A totally great round. 2 bogeys and he shoots 9 under.
And he has that sort of game to where you can watch him play and he just looks like he belongs on lead cards, you know, because he's taking bogeys and he's still shooting 9 under. He's missing a couple putts here and there.
One of my favorite things about him is if he just shot 5 over or 9 under, you wouldn't know the difference. He is a very kind player. He is very fun to play with, and just love to see him doing well. So good round for him, keeping it in the 50s. Only 4 players were able to do that, and we are going to have Calvin Heimberg and Anthony Barella join Ricky Wysocki and Albert Tamm on our lead card for Moving Day Saturday. Pretty good lead card.
Yeah, rippers. Absolute bomb.
Paul Ulibarri in the top 10, I see there. 7 under.
Hanging around, you know, big tie up there at that number. It's nice to get a low number in for everybody, about 5 under and below, because the rains are coming tomorrow, and if you can get a later tee time, I think that you have a better shot than earlier. It looks like some pretty aggressive storms might be rolling in.
Well, that's going to do it for us here. Round 1 action. We are a third of the way through the books here at the 7th stop on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Thanks once again to the Founders Club. We love you just as much as we did on the front 9, maybe even more. Who knows at this point. We got 2 more rounds to go. Come back tomorrow. We'll see you then.